The Urban Game. The year is 1720 in colonial America. The population of the American colonists reached 475,000 people. Boston was the largest city at 12,000. Second largest city was Philadelphia with 10,000 people. And New York was the third largest city at 7,000 people. The scene is a rural New England village. There is New England up there. You have a map in front of you. You have a river going across your map, connecting east to west. You have a wooden bridge already drawn in for you. You have roads, these straight lines, two of them going east and west, one going north and south over your bridge. You have 10 houses, you have a church, you have a cemetery, you have a store, you have a pub, and you have a coal mine. You will be adding to that as we go. Life here in your colonial village is similar to other villages across New England and other colonies in the 18th century. Change comes very slowly. People generally move at a much slower pace and had access to very little information about the world outside their village. 3 out of every 4 colonists were rural or lived in small villages like this one. The average village was inhabited by about 200 to 400 people. The tallest structure in the village was usually the church. The religion of the colonies was varied, but the overwhelmingly majority of New England families lived on farms. Most people married in their teens and had babies before they were 20. As many as 50% of women died in childbirth from diseases related to giving birth. So the average marriage lasted about 15 years. The life expectancy of the colonists was very short. The infant mortality rate was very high. 1 baby out of 3 would die before they turned 1 year old. 1 out of 2 children would actually make it to their 21st birthday. Individuals in their 40s and 50s during the 17th century were considered old people. Statistics peering back to the 18th century indicate the average life expectancy was 45 years old. Partly because of the abundance of trees, New England yeoman families usually lived in wooden houses. New England families worked on their own farms. Sons worked with fathers, farming and tending livestock. Daughters worked with their mothers, cooking, cleaning, sewing, and doing other domestic chores. Farm women also provided nearly all the goods used by their families. They spun yarn from wool. They knitted it into sweaters and stockings. They made candles, they made soap, they churned the milk into butter and cheese. The family and its livestock consumed most of the crops that the family farm produced, which is called subsistence farming. Villages were connected by a system of dirt roads that became almost impassable during the wet season. As a result, transportation was often slow, and trade beyond your village was not easy. Most English farmers never visited any place further than 25 miles from their birthplace, ever. Finally, for fuel, there were 2 sources, firewood and coal. Nearly every New England colonial village had a coal mining operation. These mines employed a small number of village dwellers, especially during the winter time. Coal pits from which the coal was extracted belonged to the owner of the property where the coal mine was situated.